Hi guys. I was gonna say hello, but I feel like that's kind of Karen's thing. She's maybe trademarked it. Anyways, hello. It's May 1st, 2019, and I'm sorry for the delay in getting started with this, but oh, I just realized I'm not sure I've got this going in the right spot. Shoot, this is an awkward start. Guys, give me a thumbs up if you are watching this through the OAC Facebook group. I had some technical difficulties, I'm sorry, getting this going. And I just realized I just went straight to my phone and hit live. Can you give me a thumbs up if this is actually coming to you through the OAC group? Or do I need to start over again? Oh, wait, okay. I just figured out the answer to my own question. Okay, ignore everything I've said up to this point because I'm just babbling incoherently. Hi, it's Laura. Around here, apparently, I'm the president of the OAC. That's a title. It doesn't mean anything. I'm a mom like you, and I've been involved in the OAC for, this is year 15. So I wanted to bring you some updates today about, yes, thank you, about the cat church. Oh, and let's talk about priorities. So I'm drinking two things tonight. I'm drinking water because it's very important to stay hydrated. And trigger alert, I am drinking wine tonight. This is a Rose Hill Private Edition Niagara Chardonnay 2017. I like my white Chardonnays. Preferably Canadian or Australian. I don't encourage drinking while parenting, but, if you're enjoying responsibly, then, have your coffee, have your tea, have your water, just, stay hydrated. So, a lot happened today. So I'm going to try to talk you through what I experienced in the day, and then take your questions about what you're experiencing. So the first thing that I want to tell you is that the wonderful and talented and lovely Karen Boite and I attended a meeting this morning with Lisa McLeod's Chief of Staff, Tim Porter, and another senior member of her staff, a guy by the name of Bill Hogg, who is going to be the implementation advisor for the new OAP. And I was happy to finally get this meeting. There's been a lot of kind of back and forth about trying to find time to do this. Hang on, I'm going to sneeze now. Achoo! Achoo! And then one more. Achoo! Okay, well, aren't you lucky that you all got to share in that experience with me? I'm so sorry. What's up, Clara? Yes. Those of you that saw Clara's speech at Queen's Park will understand this part. She has to write notes to me sometimes when I'm on the phone or doing lives. What's up?
That's what's up.
Nice. Clara is organizing on education-related issues.
But, they're gonna send reps.
Nice. Very good.
And lots of them.
Okay. You keep being awesome. Look, how amazing is this kid? Anyway, she's gonna run the world one day.
I wanted to see that.
Sorry, I got to talk about things. There's 44 people waiting for me to say something significant, and I haven't yet. Okay. So meeting happened this morning with Bill and Tim, and we covered a lot of ground. So I want to start there. I'll say this: the tone of the meeting was certainly much better than the last meeting that I had with Mr. Porter, which was before the announcement, and things were still pretty tense. We have, as a community, lots of reason to be suspicious about the consultation process that is now underway. However, I will say that I noticed today a real effort on the part of these two gentlemen to be conciliatory in their tone and to be open to input. Look, Char says you are an inspiration, Kara.
Oh, thank you.
Shall I just move over and let her take over the OAC? I feel like we could do that in about 5 minutes. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, let's do it. Right. I straightened my hair.
You did. Okay. Can I
okay,
do my thing?
Okay, I'm gonna go away now. I love you.
Love you too. So yeah, it was interesting. Even just at the beginning of the meeting, I said to Bill, okay, what do you want to talk about today? Because the way the meeting came about was really kind of It's a long story, it doesn't matter. But he said, actually, I want to listen. I was like, oh, okay. So really it was a meeting to, engage with the leadership of the OAC and to get our suggestions on the new program. I think I'm on reflecting now, and Karen, you can tell me whether this was your experience too. I realize now in retrospect, I didn't fully take advantage of the opportunity to share ideas and suggestions. Instead, I jumped right into asking questions. Because there's so many things that so many of you are anxious about. So the first thing I asked about was, what's up with childhood budgets? You guys said that you were going to be coming out with childhood budgets the first week of April. Here it is, May 1st, and nothing's going on. So what's up about that? And the response was disappointing, but here's what it was. The delay, they say, is related to the fact that they made the enhancements announcement. And as part of that, they shifted over from what was their plan A to a plan B that didn't involve factors like income testing. Yay, we're happy about that. But they're now saying that's part of the delay in planning for this new release of childhood budgets. They say that they should be ready within a couple of weeks to send a letter to everybody that's on the wait list explaining what the process is going to be and all the factors that will be considered in managing these, or in sending out these new childhood budgets. Really, if I read between the lines there, what's going on is the process of taking the wait lists that used to be managed by the regional programs and moving them into the Ministry of Education, into one sort of centralized management system. We'll leave aside I hate to say that, we'll leave aside. I can't factor in right now, like, what happens to a kid who was diagnosed with autism yesterday. Where do they fall into this flow? But for all the people that were on wait lists out in the regional programs, they are now, because of privacy legislation, sorry, Sylvia, no, not into the Ministry of Education, into the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services. But you would think that because the regional programs were government agencies, that they could simply take all of the waitlist information and move it back to the ministry office. No, privacy legislation actually prevents them from doing that. It's a law called FIPA. So their workaround is that every file from every regional program is going to be given a unique ID number. The names will be redacted. And then the information that will be sent to the ministry is simply the age of the child or the young person, probably just date of birth, and how long they've been waiting. The third thing that one would think would be a variable in figuring out who's going to get their childhood budgets first would be severity. But of course, they don't have necessarily data on severity. I want to come back to this issue later and remind me if I forget, because it's a real tricky one. But what they'll do is they'll take the child's age and the length of time that they've been waiting, and from there they'll make a determination about who gets the first wave of childhood budgets. So they said the letter explaining the process will be sent out in a couple of weeks, and then the first childhood budgets will be sent out in a couple of weeks after that. So that's concerning. As a community, we were promised that we would have childhood budgets actually being mailed out to families the first week of April, and now it's really looking like the end of May. I want you to do some mental math if you can, even if you can't do the exact calculations. But take 23,000 people who were languishing on the wait list and pause any funding going out to them for 60 days. How much money do you think that saves the government? So while I don't want to believe that there's any deliberate attempt to stall the process, I do want to point out here that by the process being delayed, the government is saving a lot of money. But we are where we are. So letters will go out in a couple of weeks explaining how the childhood budget process will work. And then a couple of weeks after that, the first childhood budgets will get mailed out. Okay. The second thing is the issue of regulation. So although this was hinted at in the enhancements announcement, we got explicit confirmation today that some form of regulation of ABA therapy is coming. They can't/won't divulge what that regulation might look like. There was an odd comment because there was an odd comment of the regulation that we're introducing might not be something that Ontaba likes. And I was like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. Makes me nervous, makes me antsy. But I said, well, I certainly hope that you're going to do more than just title protection. I hope that it's meaningful regulation. So we'll see where that goes. But I don't know. Are we supposed to be happy to say some regulation is better than none? I don't know. Sorry, Leah, just to clarify, what I'm hearing is that letters explaining the childhood budget determination will be sent out in a couple of weeks, and then the first childhood budgets will actually start to move in about 2 weeks after that. So we're looking at another month of waiting, and we may want to do some action around that, but we'll talk about that another time. The next thing, this isn't necessarily in order of what happened in the meeting. And Karen, I'm really glad you're on the line live here. I wish you were with me so that we could drink wine together. Miko, you can raise your Dr. Pepper. The other thing that we talked about, sorry, the end of that thought to Karen, if I forget anything important from this meeting, please type it in. But I did make notes beforehand. So we also obviously talked about the advisory committee. So I'm hearing from my sources that that the recommended names for the advisory committee has now gone to the Premier's office. And we heard today that we are probably, again, a couple of weeks away from that advisory committee being announced. That sometime in the next week or two, people that are on the committee will be contacted. Those of you that are asking what meeting I'm talking about, today I got called in very last minute to a meeting with Tim Porter, Lisa McLeod's chief of staff, and Bill Hogg, who works in the minister's office and has the title of implementation advisor. So that was the meeting. So the advisory committee will be announced at some point soon. We were told earlier that from other sources that the OAC would have a spot on that committee. We've put forward the name of the person that we want to be that OAC representative. Whether or not they'll take that recommendation remains to be seen. Guys, look, whoever they put on the committee, someone out there is not going to be happy. But did he at least get you a coffee? No, he didn't offer me a coffee or a water or anything. But of course, I did walk into the meeting with an open Diet Coke, so maybe they just figured I didn't need anything. Hey, Sherry Lynn. Fatima, I don't know about priorities given to younger kids and kids over 17. Let's wait and see when the letters go out about what those say. But listen, when the advisory committee comes out, or when the members are named, we'll be looking to see balance. Expect to see parent representatives, autistic self-advocates, and professionals. Who those people will be, there's lots of speculation, and be careful with the rumors, guys. Some people are getting different pieces along the way. We're just going to have to wait and see who gets named. But also remember that this consultation process is multifaceted, right? So on the one hand, there's the advisory committee. On the other hand, there's the online survey. Then there's also the teletown halls that started tonight. And for those of you that called in tonight to the teletown hall, great job. Oh my gosh, I was listening in, and so many of the comments were fantastic. They were really, really good. And then, of course, there's the in-person consultations. And here's the deal, guys. We have to be perfect for the next month. We have to participate fully and enthusiastic and without resentment in this consultation process. We have to be united in our messaging. But like, I want every single one of you to commit right now that you're going to register for one of the remaining teletown halls, that you are going to participate in the online survey. And if you have multiple children with autism, you're going to fill out that survey for each of your children and if you have to, use different email accounts. And that we're also all going to attend at least one in-person consultation hosted by MPPs in our area. We have to come out to these consultations. We have to show up. We have to dominate the conversation. Now, when Melissa says, my MPP is refusing to meet one-on-one with me, that's where I start to think, okay, so we've got right here, I've shown this to some of you before, my handy dandy chart of MPPs where members of the autism community have gone and protested or where they've had a meeting. And we've got at least one of those one dot to represent either a protest or a meeting. I picked up a new one of these charts today, and I want to use it to track consultations. So what we want to do is look and see who is dragging their heels on consultations. Now, guys, when I say dragging their heels, slow down a little bit, because some of them have already announced that they're going to hold consultations. Some of them are still weeks away from that. Some of them are nervous. But I think in terms of the protests at MPP offices, the strategy right now really needs to be, if they haven't been protested yet, and if they haven't taken meetings with parents, then we need to check that off the list. Like, I want every single one of them to have at least one sticker. But guys, if you are hearing that your MPP is refusing to meet with constituents on the autism issue, if they are refusing to hold town halls or consultations about the autism protest, then contact us here at the OAC and let's be selective about where we go protesting, right? If an MPP is agreeable and is meeting with constituents, then why do we need to go protest them? If they're doing the right thing, let's reinforce the hell out of that behavior, kids. You know what to do. And, if they're not holding consultations, let's introduce them to the autism community in the way that only we know how to do. Let me just go back in the comments here, because I thought I saw some questions. Yes, protest those. Yeah, Virginia's right. Protest those who haven't been, aren't taking calls, aren't taking meetings, those who are deadbeats. Ugh, she said it, not me. Yeah, we can go after. Yeah, Yakubuski, Jody, has not had the pleasure of a visit from us. He's taken no meetings, and to the best of my knowledge, has not been protested yet. So this is where the OAC regional organizers can put to work. Oh, Scott, wanted posters. Yes. Those of you that were around for the 2016 fight will remember that we did a series of wanted posters for Liberals who were being particularly reluctant. And it was highly effective. Yeah, Scott, you know what? I'm going to send you a screenshot of this list. Let's go. Anyway. So that's it about the consultations, guys. The thing I have to recommend is you've got to get out there and participate. And, I'm not going to say, could you all please say exactly the same thing? Say what's in your heart. Share your experience, your story. That's the most powerful thing that you've got. In terms of messaging, those of you that want talking points, I think it's pretty clear what the OAC is calling for. We want regulation of ABA therapy. We want an end to age as a determining factor in any kind of funding. We want an end to annual caps or lifetime caps. That doesn't exist for any other condition, medical, neurological, or otherwise, and we can't accept it here. Tina's asking about Donna Skelly. It's really hard to keep up with your comments here. So Donna Skelly has been protested, but I don't know if anyone has actually had a meeting with her. I was counting something on my fingers here. And then, are the Twitter storms working, Char? Yeah, they are. Oh, boy. The number of conservative backbench MPs who have come and asked me if I can get the people on Twitter to tone it down a little bit is really quite funny. They are deeply sensitive souls. Be kind on Twitter. Be fair. Please don't be rude. Don't go like yelling and swearing at people and calling them names. But do be persistent, because it really does, it does work. The points we were focusing on. Thanks, Nicole. Whew, she's got my back. So, regulation, no age caps, no lifetime caps, no annual caps, anything better than what we have in schools. And, a system that is truly needs-based. So let me go back. Char's asking, should we start hitting the MPPs that are being deadbeats harder? Yes. Reaching out. Our MPP is NDP, but is helping forward. Well, that's the other thing. If you've got whatever party they're from, if they're meeting with constituents and they're genuinely listening and engaging, we want to reward that behavior. And Rochelle, something for kids kicked out of school. I mean, this isn't OAP related, but yes, we have to keep advocating on the issue of exclusions and the lack of meaningful support in schools. So the next part of the meeting was interesting. Bill Hogg pulled out a folder, and he had some of the OAC materials there. So our roadmap and some of our previous briefing notes and recommendations reports. And he said, we sort of have an idea of what the OAC is calling for here, but we'd like a more detailed proposal from you. So that's the next thing is within the next couple of weeks, we have to pull together a specific OAC ask. I have to confess that I'm really tempted to go back to what we sent in as a briefing note and basically a proposal in August before all of this latest chaos started. He said our roadmap was fairly good. Or our recommendations were somewhat helpful. And I said, so how can we be more helpful? And he said, more detail. So as you know, lots of people, anybody who has an opinion about what the new OAP should look like, if in fact we must reinvent the OAP, but there we are. That seems to be what we're headed towards. Anybody can make a recommendation. And in fact, lots of people have been going to Queen's Park and getting meetings with MPPs. And here's the thing. I mean, on the one hand, sometimes just getting a meeting is a battle in and of itself. And by the way, there is no constitutional right to meet with your MPP. That's not a thing. But there is, of course, basic decency as a public servant and an elected official, and they should meet with their constituents, but there isn't a must there. So sometimes they pick and choose who they meet with, and if you meet with them once and then afterwards you do something that they don't like, you might not get invited back, and that's a whole process. But please don't confuse getting a meeting with getting the results that you want. There's lots of times where politicians will take a meeting with an individual or a stakeholder group just to check it off the list and say, okay, now we can say we met with them. They feel listened to. We're not doing anything that they want, but we took the meeting. There's lots of meetings happening. But I'm very interested, of course, as president, to know what your priorities are for a needs-based system. And so I think I'm just spitballing here. We may design a survey. I'm thinking about like what happens in the education process. So I'm represented by this big, huge union called OSSTF. And there are 72 school boards, therefore 72 different districts of this union with thousands of people in them who all want different things. And when I look at the OAC, I'm like, wow, guys, there's like 7,500 of you in this Facebook group. That's massive. How could we ever possibly put together a briefing note or a recommendations report that encompasses everything that all of you want? And how could we possibly make everybody in the organization feel that their needs and their wants were expressed in the official documents of the OAC? And I'm not going to bog down about you can't please all of the people all of the time, so don't try to please anybody. I do want to try to make as many of you happy as possible. So I want your input. What my union does is they put forward a list to the members every time we're about to head into a round of bargaining, saying, okay, these are the things that will likely be bargained in the next round. Can you rank them in priority order? What are the number one? What's the number one item for you? What's the number 10? So I'm thinking we might do something like that. The questions are coming in really fast. Can I answer why special needs education classes aren't available till grade 4? That sounds like something that might be unique to your board. I know lots of other boards where special education programs start in kindergarten. So I would ask your board officials a question about that. And okay, slow down with the questions for a second, guys. I'm behind. Amanda, can you ask if there is any time frame about soon those on the waiting list for diagnosis are going to be helped? Waiting for a diagnostic assessment through CHIO for 12 months. Yikes, that is a long time. So time frame about when those on the wait list for diagnosis. Okay, it bothers me that that's moving so slowly, because weren't they all bragging about how they doubled the investment to the Diagnostic Hubs? So yeah, that should be moving a lot faster. Yeah, see, the other people here are chiming in, Jessica, about where special education supports kick in different school boards, and it really varies. Anyway, I wonder what you think about that, guys. About okay, Miko, I can't stop. Yes, I will ask Janet. Of course. I mean, the government already has Janet McLaughlin's survey results, so that's already in to them. But what I want to do is sort of look at, if I give the membership a list of 10 things and say, okay, in a needs-based program, which of these things are most important to you? I'd really like to get that input and then move forward. I still feel like our first briefing note, we put in this last page at the end of like, here's the things that you should definitely not do. And they went, yeah, we did that one and that one and that one and that one. And, also that one. So it's, I had conversations with other MPPs later in the day, and I really found myself reflecting on how many times the OAC has written recommendations reports to different governments. The Conservatives for less than a year, but the Liberals for many years before that. And how really, I think a lot of times, even when consultations are happening, governments have already kind of decided what they're going to do. And they'll take your recommendations, and they'll pick a few things and they'll do those and say, aren't you happy? And then they leave out ones. So one thing, that's a good point, Rubina, about Google Forms. Maybe you can help me design that. Damn it, I'm losing my train of thought again, guys. What was I talking about? I'm gonna have some more wine. I'm sure this will help. Damn it. What the hell was I talking about? It's gone. Oh God, I hate when that happens. It's so embarrassing when it happens. And 88 of you are watching live, and many of you are going to watch afterwards. Nicole, help me. What the hell was I talking about? We're talking about doing a survey, ranking it. Okay, yes, we will go ahead and do that. Thank you, Paula. God bless you. Writing recommendations. I swear, I've got the attention span of a hummingbird sometimes. Need more wine. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, we also need to go back to Darcy McGee's. Big time. So the thing about writing recommendations, having, I think we put in our first set of recommendations back in 2009, is governments pick and choose which of our recommendations they take, and then often just sort of go ahead and do what they want anyways. I mean, one of the things that I was most frustrated about with the Liberals is, like, yes, we fought them down on the age cutoff, and that was great, but they didn't move on regulation. And I mean, we started begging them on regulation back in the mid-2000s. I got a laugh out of Tim Porter today, so that was good, because usually he doesn't think I'm very funny. But I said to him, we protested outside of Dalton McGuinty's office in 2007. And by that point, we already had a basic OAC ask put together and regulation was on it. And after the protest, we went inside and met with Dalton McGuinty's constituency assistant and said, we want regulation. And, that was in 2007. Guess who Dalton McGuinty's assistant was? A guy by the name of John Fraser. He's the current interim leader of the Liberal Party. So that's how far back this issue goes. But yeah, I actually did get a laugh out of him, so yay me. I took some time to express something on your behalf, guys, that I hope you're okay with. But they were talking about how, sometimes when you're doing a survey, you'll get people that are, asking for everything. Or sometimes, no matter what you do as a government, there's people who will always complain that so many parents are in this constant state of freak out. And the way that I've described it to many people over the last month or so, I don't know when I came up with the term, but I think as a community, guys, we have a massive case of PTSD. We have been traumatized by governments for over a decade. If I go back to McGuinty in the 2000s, there was an age 6 cutoff. Then they fought families in court. Then they dropped the age 6 cutoff and things were okay, except the wait list sucked. And then they tried to sneak in the age 5 cutoff. And then we had to fight them on that. And then a new government came in and went, oh, you thought that was bad? Watch this. And I said to them in the meeting today, and then you guys came in and you blew up the program. And so there's families who had funding and then lost it when the age 5 cutoff came in. Then we fought, then we got that back. And then they were in the program, and then the Conservatives came in and said, you're going to lose your funding, and you're going to drop down to $5,000 a year. So there's families out there that have been hit twice, have literally had the rug pulled out from underneath them twice. And I tried to explain to them, guys, you have to understand that sometimes when you've been fighting for as long as we've been fighting, that's all we know how to do. And I understand how government works because I used to work in government, but, and so I understand things take time and it's slow, and sometimes government is not as transparent as we would like it to be. But Jesus, if they could just make some good policy, we could all calm down. But we have trust issues, and the government needs to hear that. So I put that out there on your behalf today, and I hope that got heard. The trauma that we have experienced and is indescribable. And those of us that have been at this for a long time, I mean, there's even, like we have trust issues with the government, and then we have trust issues with each other. And, instead of all fighting in the same direction and fighting the government, sometimes the worst thing that we do, guys, and we have to frickin' stop it, but we fight each other. And we subdivide, and we mix our messages, and we attack each other. And, there needs to be a lot more love, and, a lot less bickering. Let's figure out what we agree on, and move forward. But yeah, Amanda's right. This is like an abusive relationship. But what we have to do is hold each other up as we're experiencing this trauma, not tear each other down. If somebody has a different idea, if somebody thinks that, the OAP should cover speech and language and occupational therapy, and somebody else thinks it should cover ABA only, you are not enemies to each other. You are people who have different ideas, and it is okay to have different ideas. But honestly, there are a couple of times in the last month where I've just considered closing commenting down on our group for like a week and just say, okay, guys, go talk to each other in person instead of talking to each other online. Like, honestly, if you're spending all of your time on Facebook and you're not actually interacting personally with other members of the OAC or I don't care, members of whatever organization, could y'all just please take a friend to coffee? I don't know, maybe we need to organize more social events and actually get together, because it's really hard to attack somebody online when you know them in person. So maybe that's going to be a priority of getting to know people in person and building each other up. So to that end, and I want to end soon and wind down. Yes, Char, we need a wine night, more meetups. So I want to build some people up in our community who have been doing awesome things lately. I want to amplify and congratulate there's so many of you that are doing awesome work. Of course, the danger here is that I'm not going to name everyone, but let's give it up for Faith and Amanda and Amy, that whole group of people who have been going to question period, and Miko's been going with them on a daily basis for a while. And, bless them that they've, got a life where their time is such that they can do that. Not all of us can, and Kothar for sure. Miko, thank you. But the spontaneous Facebook Lives that they've been doing, it's so good to see the future leaders of the OAC stepping up. I'm going to get emotional now, but I remember the first time I met Kothar and a bunch of other incredible parents in Mississauga. Okay, shit, I'm just going to lose it. And I came into the meeting. They wanted me there for moral support. And when I got there, I realized they didn't need me. They wanted me there, but they didn't need me. They had the agenda all mapped out. They had their talking points. They knew who was going to talk about what. It was like, this wasn't the first MPP that they had met with. They'd been doing this for 10 years. They were so well organized. And I just sat with my mouth open for the first 15 minutes before I said anything. And then afterwards at the meeting, we went outside and I was like, guys, I have been waiting for you. The OAC leadership team that's in place right now, we've all been at this since 2016, but to see new people stepping into the space and owning it and making it their own. And yes, thanks for the reminder. People like Louie, who have been saying it like it is. I have to say, and I saw earlier that Erwin was watching, and I still I mourn on a daily basis for the loss of the office of the Children's Advocate. And this is totally rationalizing and looking for like one good thing to come out of something awful. But I'll tell you, watching Erwin Ellman, now that he's off the leash and is just a private citizen and can say whatever the hell he wants, Erwin it is a pleasure to watch you. And we are inspired by you. And I can't wait to see what else you're going to say, because it's pretty awesome. Yeah, go ahead, guys, and shout each other out for all the awesome work. The groups of people that are going to Ford Fridays. Ross McLean has been a rock star since 2016. Janet McLaughlin, Melanie and Marg and Karen on the executive, Kerry Monahan and the whole crew up in Ottawa, our amazing allies in the labor movement. Martha, hello. Louis Bush just tearing it up, and there's another one. Like, now he's off the leash from his official days as president of Ontaba. There is great joy in being a private citizen and being able to say whatever you want. I hope you guys do understand that I often feel that I can't say everything that I want to say, at least not publicly. That even sometimes in these Facebook Lives, I have to measure what I say, because oh, by the way, I forgot to say hi to the Tory staffers that have been assigned to watch this video and to monitor the OAC Facebook page. I hope you're doing well. Say hi to my former student Bradley for me.
I love
you.
I love you so much.
And I'm so sorry this video is so long. I'm sure you have other important things to do. But yeah, we want needs-based funding, and if you could just figure that out and get on that, that'd be great. Okay, any last minute questions, guys?
Wait,
I think it's time
stop scrolling down. You can just press the blue thing.
Oh, thank you.
It takes you right to the bottom.
All right, cool. Oh, Faith says hi.
Oh, hi, Faith.
Yes. And oh yeah, shout out to all the people that went to the rally on Monday. That was awesome. Thank you, Karen, for going and representing the OAC. I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to go. Lolly, Nancy, I feel like, what was that show that I grew up watching when I went home for lunch when I was a little girl, and they would do, they had like a magnifying glass. Okay, old folks in Toronto, do you remember what this show was? And they'd be like, I see Lolly and Karen and Kothar, hi. And they would do like little shout outs. What the hell was that show? I feel like that's what I'm doing. What was it? Romper Room. Holy crap. Romper Room. Jessica got it. Yes. Okay. I can't keep up. Polka Dot Tour. No, that was different. Polkaroo. I'm not going to try to keep out with the shout outs, but you know what, guys, keep this conversation going and keep building each other up. And let's focus on that needs-based funding. And what is the homework, says Faith. So the homework is go and participate like hell in the consultations. Do it all. Do the online survey, do the teletown halls, do the in-person consultations, show the hell up, and let's dominate the data. Let's make sure that our voices are heard. And, continue to protest where you can. Remember the motto of the OAC, that you do what you can when you can. Never apologize for not being able to go to something or not being able to participate in something. Okay, I really want you to do the surveys. I think everybody can do that. Maybe you can't get out to one of the in-person consultations, but do what you can. Karen's asking, how did I feel when I walked out the door? Yes, Martha, I want to work together. When I went out the door, I felt like, I am 100% convinced that they want us to think that they are being genuine about these consultations. I'm 100% sure that they want us all to feel like we're being heard. Am I 100% convinced that they will actually listen to what our community says? That's a different question. And I guess for that, I have to say, sorry, Tim, sorry, Bill, I still have trust issues. I've been burned too many times. We need to put the pressure on the feds too. That's right. Maybe they won't listen. Martha, you're right. Maybe not a chance. But here's the crappy part, guys. Sometimes you do things not because you think the government will listen, but because if you don't show up at all, they win right away. Right? So we got to do it anyway. Guys, it's like doing your homework in school. And yeah, you got to have some hope. I don't know, man. It feels like the whole province is just completely upside down right now. It's really hard living under this government. I walked into to a classroom the other day, and it was an English classroom, and on the wall they had all sorts of posters that they'd put up, and notes that they'd made about dystopian fiction. And there was, Martha, you'll like this, there was a sheet on the wall about how the protagonists, the main characters in dystopian novels feel. And, how they feel gaslighted, and they feel oppressed, and they feel a lack of hope, and they feel disengaged. I remember just sort of reading the poster going, yes, yes, yeah. Oh, so that's why I feel like this. We're living in a dystopian novel. But you know what? We have to have hope. If we don't have hope, we die, right? So we keep fighting, we build each other up, and we pace ourselves. All right, guys, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. But the other thing too that I want you to hear is that as bad as this may be right now, as isolated as you may feel, as much as you may feel like this is the worst it has ever been, this too will pass. Everything does. And the minute politicians and those who work for them forget that they will not, in fact, be in government forever, is the day that they start to lose. And that day's coming. So we do have to keep at it and try to look at the glass half full. And I'm embarrassed to say my glass is more than half full. So I'm going to try to fix that now. See, I feel better already. What did Gandhi say? He said, we must be the change we wish to see in the world. So if we want the world to be better, if we want this program to be better, then we have to role model. We have to show them the way. And so let's be the change. Let's be, despite every logical reason that says that we should not engage in this consultation process, despite the fact that we've been fighting, some of us, for more than a decade, despite the fact that we are exhausted, if we want things to change, we have to engage and we have to be that change. And yeah, take a look in the mirror. If you want our Facebook community to be kinder, if you want to make sure that our Facebook community is a place where anybody feels that there's that they have the ability to make a comment and not be attacked, then attack less, and build each other up. And by the way, for those of you that watched the Kid President video that I posted, I don't know when, recently, the last time that a fight broke out on our page, you're going to notice me and a couple of other people randomly posting pictures of koalas when discussions get too heated. So if you see an image of a koala, that's our indication that people are getting too heated and too intense, and they need to stop. Now, I'll take this one last question. Oh, I love Winston Churchill quotes. Absolutely. The last question I asked, that somebody asked, was, will there be another Queen's Park protest? So first I would say, like, holy crap, dude, there was just one on Monday organized by our friends over at AAO, and they killed it. It was great. It was really good. So, I don't want to go and say, yeah, we're going to have another one next week. Lessons from 2016. When you protest multiple times at the same location, especially when that location is Queen's Park or Parliament Hill, first of all, you have to consider the optics, right? If you get 50 people in front of a constituency office, it looks like an absolute mob. You put 50 people on the lawn of Queen's Park, it looks like nobody came. So if we're going to go back to Queen's Park, we have to go back en masse, and we do need to wait a while. There was just a rally this week. I think if we get through to the end of May, and letters still haven't gone out, and childhood budgets still haven't gone out, and special services at home funding has still not gone out, and if they still haven't announced the implementation committee, or if the members of the implementation committee are dreadfully awful in people's opinion, if we don't feel like things are moving in the right direction, then maybe June would be the time to do a show of strength again. And of course, if we get to the end of the 6-month extension for those that got it, and we still don't have a needs-based program, then yes, we will go back to Queen's Park. But right now, let's put our efforts into participating. Yeah, June is a lovely time to have a protest. We had a wonderful protest in June of 2016. It was like 500 people came, and it was a glorious day and blue sky and kids playing on the grass, and it was absolutely fantastic. So maybe we'll do that. But in the meantime, let's focus on MPP offices and local protests. And let's focus on MPPs that haven't had a visit. Yeah, it'll be warmer than March, but man, that March protest was something, eh? Anyway, keep your head up. This is a long fight, and we're all in it together. And let's build each other up and participate like hell in these consultations. All right, guys, it's 10 o'clock. Nicole, I don't know the answer to your question about school boards. I'm trying to engage in the education fight as well as the autism fight, and I'm finding it really overwhelming, especially trying to track numbers. Martha, you're awesome. Go on. Karen, good night. Somebody's asking about doing a protest on a Saturday. It's funny, no matter when you protest, there's always people who can't go. And then you have to consider all these different factors when you're organizing a protest. Like, on the one hand, you want to go when the MPPs are in the House. And on the other hand, weekdays aren't convenient for a lot of people. So you can do a protest on a Saturday and get a massive crowd, nobody's home. Does that matter? I don't know. It depends. Oh, hey, those of you that have lasted all the way to the bitter end here, there's 75 of you. Don't you people need to do things and sleep? And oh, right. Autism life. Okay. Oh. Here is the Tosh tip of the day. So Tosh is my teacher nickname. I want you to go to a website called Infogo. So www.infogo.gov.on.ca. So it's infogo.govanka. This is your secret weapon in finding contact information for people who work for individual cabinet ministers. So when you go, you'll see a list of, quote, reporting organizations. So the website, once again, is infogo.gov.on.ca. And you can click on any ministry. So you could say, I don't know, I have a question for the Ministry of Education. So you can click on Education, and thank you for posting the link, Faith. And then you can go click on Minister's Office. And, Jessica, marking and listening, teacher life is, man, I'll see you at Starbucks in a few weeks, right? When we all do our marking. Anyway, when you go to the minister's office link, you can get the list of all of the political staffers that work for a cabinet minister. And you can find their positions and their phone numbers and their emails. And it's just a really excellent source of information. I will tell you that my experience is that with this government, email is much better than trying to call them. So yeah, there's that. Shar, you're watching the Marlies game? How are they doing? Okay, I really should go to bed, guys. I gotta teach tomorrow. Anyways, I hope that this was helpful. I think I captured everything that happened today. I guess I kind of left out all of the MPPs that I bumped into once we got to Queen's Park. But let's just say Laura's charm offensive continues, and I keep trying to talk to politicians, and everybody, you can ask for a meeting too. It's cool. Get down there, tell your story, and stay relentless, guys. We will win this. It's just a question of when. We will get a needs-based system. We will get better services in school. And I will fight till my dying breath to make sure that it happens. Hold each other up in the meantime, guys. All right? Peace. Be the change. And koalas.